Do you want to be undisputed, or what's your ultimate goal in the ring?
There was an idea of becoming undisputed at one time, but as of right now, it's so much politics. You know, look with the WB. I was already unified champion, but all these things that don't line up with us, you know, you can't. It's a business as well. It's a business as well. So if you're not gonna work with me, I can't really work with you either. So I'll fight all these guys. I'll fight them all, and they can keep their belt right after I beat them. But I'm comfy with the WBC. I still think I'm recognized as the best. I think I'm the best. So, you know, let's just make these mega fights.
My goodness. I think Sebastian Fundora has a problem here. Saying he don't want to unify or become undisputed champion in the sport of boxing. That he's comfortable with just the WBC bout. I'll fight all these other dudes. But they can keep their titles. Now make that make sense. What do you mean you'll fight all these other dudes? Let's just say unify with Xander Zayas or Josh Kelly. But they can keep their title? I don't think that's how things work here. And I don't think the sanctioning bodies will get behind that, knowing, Sebastian Fundora, that if you become champion, you ain't paying your sanctioning fee. You don't care about the bout. Just the WBC strap. Make it make sense, man. This mean that you won't fight in any unification bouts? I know you're saying that. You'll fight anybody. But you don't want to become undisputed, and you don't care about having any other title, saying that you've carried the WBO bout and the WBC bout at the same time, but was forced to vacate that bout due to the WBO mandating the fight with Xander Zayas. Sebastian Fundora says he doesn't like the politics that are involved with the bouts. So he doesn't like the fact that these sanctioning bodies are enforcing their mandatories. You know, he doesn't care about becoming a WBA champion, because then the WBA and their politics are going to force him to fight somebody that he don't want to end up fighting. He does not want to deal with any other sanctioning body but the WBC. Look here, man. I don't know what to tell you when it comes to that. Because in the sport of boxing, you're the WBC champion, Sebastian Fundora. If you beat Keith One-Time Thurman this Saturday, I know you were talking about fighting Virgil Ortiz in September for the ring bout and WBC bout, which makes sense. If that's the route that you go and that's the route that you want to go, due to what he just said, saying he don't mess with any of the sanctioning bodies. But other than that, the fighters want to see you fight against the other world champions. I'm sure Xander's his. Let's just say, you know, we see he's in talks with Jerome Butenis. Let's just say that doesn't end up happening. Let's just say you beat Fundora. I'm sure Xander Zayas would love a unification fight with you. Josh Kelly, I know for a fact this ain't going to happen, but let's just say he wanted to unify bouts. You're not going to participate in these unification fights? Oh, wait, you will. But they can keep the titles, meaning you ain't going to acknowledge him, or you're not going to pay the sanctioning fee. Nah, man. Nah. That's a big, big problem from Sebastian Fundora. You know, he better off be at Zuffa Boxing if that's the way he's thinking. The boxing politics, yes, I got a problem with them too. That's why I kind of like the way Zuffa Boxing is creating their UBO, creating the Unified Boxing Organization, and gonna have their own thing going down over there. And I'm still gonna love and appreciate the alphabet sanctioning bodies. But if you don't want to acknowledge them, or you don't want to pay, you don't want to carry on any other bout but just the WBC bout and the Ring Magazine bout, well, you're stuck in a predicament here. You know, you're better off being a Zuffa World Champion. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the Muhammad Ali Revival Act I believe, is going to the House of Representatives, one step away from being passed. Oscar De La Hoya warning people on his Instagram. This is so shocking to hear from Sebastian Fundora, man, who has a big fight coming up against Keith One-Time Thurman. I'm sure the division is hoping Keith One-Time Thurman wins now, knowing for the other world champions that Sebastian Fundora isn't interested. Let's just say Jerome Boutanis beats. He beats Sander Zayas, and Jerome Boutanis wants to unify with Sebastian Fundora. Are you once again gonna duck the politics smoke? I mean, if you want to call the Sander Zayas not happening, the fight not happening, a duck because Sebastian Fundora wanted to pursue a rematch with Tim Tszyu, you can say whatever you want to say. But now that I'm starting to look at that, and then I'm starting to look at what you just said about not competing for any of the sanctioning bodies, I'm thinking to myself, man, is this guy ducking a lot of smoke here? Leaving himself only eligible for fighters that he's been talking about, that he talked on with The Last Stand with Brian Custer. Shout out to him. Absolutely great show. But Sebastian Fundora doesn't want to unify with anybody and doesn't and only cares about the WBC's title is wild to me, man. I think there's going to be a lot of problems with come with that. And like I said, the only 3 fighters that I see him, fighting are Earl Spence Jr., who we talked about with The Last Stand, Virgil Ortiz, and Keith One-Time Thurman, who he's fighting this Saturday. So the 3 fighters that he selected actually do make a lot of sense, man, for the route that he wants to move in, being his thoughts on the other sanctioning bodies. But let me know what you guys think, bro. This is interesting. And Sebastian Fundora, if he wins this fight with Keith One-Time Thurman, we got a lot of things to talk about when it comes to this guy, man, because this is a pretty big deal, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. This is the MMA Boxing Channel reporting to you